Hello and welcome to this News 9 special. I am Atishay Jain and we are building towards the all-important game between Rajasthan Royals and Mumbai Indians, which is scheduled to be taking place at the DY Patil Stadium in Mumbai. Just to remind our viewers what happened when the two teams last played a game in the IPL. Rajasthan Royals defeated Royal Challengers Bangalore by 29 runs. On the other hand, Mumbai Indians suffered their 8th consecutive defeat of this season as they lost by 36 runs against Lucknow Super Giants. But before we get into our discussion, and I have my colleague Nikhil Narayan here with me, the all-important news coming in from the DY Patil Stadium is that Mumbai Indians have won the toss and they have opted to field first, Nikhil. As it goes, the trend still, somewhere the captains are still thinking that it's a better option to chase, but the record says otherwise.
I mean, Mumbai Indians can do what they want, they need to win. They can bat first, they can chase, they can do what they want. They need to win. They are fighting for their legacy, they're fighting for their pride. You know, 0-8 is bad enough. If it's 0-9, you know, a bit of sheen has been taken away from the 5-time champions. They cannot afford to lose more matches. Chasing has been an advantage, although batting first, the trend has reversed in the second half. And batting first has now become an advantage, but still captains want a target in mind. It's no longer a do factor, Atishay. The captain wants a target in mind, and therefore they're wanting to chase first still in the competition.
But it's interesting to know because there's a lot of matches which are taking place now, Nikhil. It seems like defending the target is more convenient, but we are going to talk about it a little more moving forward. But just to give our audience what has happened at the toss is that Mumbai Indians have made 2 changes to their playing 11, as you will now see on your screens. Firstly, Mumbai Indians have won the toss and they have put RR into bat first. Rohit Sharma is elected to bowl first. But the all-important news is that Mumbai Indians have made 2 changes to their playing 11. Tim David and the new recruit Kumar Karthikeya has replaced the baby AB Dewal Brevis and Jaydev Unadkat. Nikhil, still Tim David comes into the 11. We all have been rooting for Tim David because Mumbai Indians plurred out a huge mammoth amount of sum of money of rupees 8.25 crore. But still, he has replaced Brevis, who was playing well, one of the standout performers for MI this season. But Kieron Pollard still continues to be there in your 11. What's your thought?
I mean, this is absolutely shocking. I mean, Tim David had to be given a longer rope. Tim David should have been brought into the 11 much before, but at the cost of Pollard. Pollard is like the white elephant in the 11. You know, he has to be removed. He has to be given a rest. You know, no matter what his relationship with the MI captain or the team management is. I just think it's almost as if Pollard can fail in every match and still he'll not be dropped. It doesn't send out a good message. Dewal Brevis was one of the upcoming youngsters for MI. He was one of the shining armors. I mean, not very consistent, but you could see that he has it in him. He's a star for the future. I don't know why they cannot drop Kieron Pollard from the 11. They're still persisting with him.
Well, absolutely. This is completely jarring because Kieron Pollard has had a couple of opportunities to, ensure Mumbai Indians win their first game of the season, but he failed to deliver when the lights were shining the brightest. Perhaps he doesn't have the same firepower which he once used to boast, and Mumbai Indians, I don't know why they haven't realized it yet, but once again he has another opportunity to prove people like us wrong, but we'll wait and watch what happens in the game. So Nikhil, now the big news also is that Rohit Sharma is celebrating his 35th birthday. A very happy birthday to the hitman himself. But the thing is, his form continues to be on the very poor side. 19.13, he averages 19.13 in this season. He has batted beyond the power play just 3 times in the 8 innings. So what needs to change for him on an individual basis? Because this is not just a factor for Mumbai Indians, but going forward, he's going to play a key role for Team India as well.
Absolutely. I think it's a mindset thing because if you see in the same time period from 2017 till now, his numbers for India are astonishing. I mean, he's got, I think, 4 T20I 100s in this period itself. So if he has brilliant numbers for India opening, there is no reason why can't he have the similar numbers for Mumbai Indians. I think it's just a mindset. When he plays for MI, he bats in a different mold, essentially an anchor accumulator. If you see from 2017, there has not been even one season, Atishay, where he scored at a striker above 135 and an average of above 30, which means he is neither playing the role of the anchor properly, nor is he providing you the cameos. So actually, Rohit Sharma, the batsman, loosely has failed for MI from the last 3 or 4 seasons, but is getting camouflage. His performances are getting camouflage because MI was such a successful team winning 5 titles. But now they're getting noticed because they didn't make the playoffs last season. They haven't made the playoffs again this season.
Well, definitely, but on the bright side, Virat Kohli too, Nikhil, was struggling for form, but today in the game against, just still going, the game between RCB and Gujarat Titans, Virat Kohli returned to form. I won't say returned to his normal self, but then again, he scored a half century, he scored a 50, he played an innings of 58 runs in just 53 balls. So one would hope that Rohit Sharma too takes a leaf out of his former skipper's book and scores some big runs, not big runs, at least a half century on his birthday. I think his fans and all the Mumbai Indians fans would be pretty happy with that return. But Nikhil, I have one more question for you. Ishan Kishan was bought for a mammoth price of over 15 crores. So do you think his approach in the power play is also hampering somewhat Rohit Sharma to play his normal game at the top of the order?
To an extent, yes, to an extent. Ishan Kishan started well, but since then he's completely, derailed. There's no momentum in his innings. He's not getting the starts. He's slow off the blocks. Somewhere the price tag of 15.25 crores is adding pressure. It has to. It will do for anyone, right? So if Ishan Kishan is failing at the other end, Rohit Sharma cannot follow his all-out attack policy which he propagated for India starting from the New Zealand series in November last year. So Rohit Sharma somewhere is getting caught between his own enforced accumulator role for MI since 2017 and also what's happening with Mumbai Indians, losing match after match, Ishan Kishan not performing. So he's caught between these two things and his batting is suffering even more.
Well, yeah, just to remind our viewers that Ishan Kishan scored 2 half centuries in the first 2 games of the season. But after that, 6 innings which have ensued after the first 2 games, the left-hander has failed to perform or rather live up to the expectations. And yes, before we move forward, Nikhil, let's take a look at the playing 11. We'll start with Mumbai Indians, the side which has made a couple of changes for this game. Again, on in the top of the order, we have captain Rohit Sharma and Ishan Kishan. Nikhil, Ishan Kishan also needs to fire because there is a huge responsibility on his shoulder because the way he is playing at the moment, I think he's putting a lot of burden on Rohit Sharma and also to the batsmen who are batting lower down the order. One more interesting thing in this lineup which I have noticed, Nikhil, is Suryakumar Yadav is probably the best batsman by far because Rohit Sharma is not performing at the same standard which he used to. So do you think he needs to face more deliveries and should be promoted at the top, say, number 3 spot?
I mean, Suryakumar Yadav should be promoted to 3, which means Tilak Verma can bat at 4. Although Tilak Verma has impressed, he's been one of the most impressive youngsters, Atisha, in this tournament. He's in fact the highest scorer for MI this season. So I think you can, still Suryakumar Yadav is the playmaker. He can change matches in the space of a couple of overs. So you can get Surya to number 3 so that he faces a majority of the overs. Then get Tilak Verma, Tim David, Pollard, and the other people to follow. Yeah.
Again, Kieron Pollard is once again there at the finishing role. He'll take up the finishing role for Mumbai Indians. There is Daniel Sams, there is Hrithik Shawkin. Yet still no Mayank Markande for Mumbai Indians. That is another shocking decision which is really hard to fathom. And what about Jasprit Bumrah, Nikhil?
Just see, Jasprit Bumrah, he's been very restrictive, but the problem has been wicket taking. Just 5 wickets in the tournament, 2 wickets in the power play in 8 innings, that is just not good enough. If you don't have firepower at the other end, there's no Trent Boult in this team. There's no one to pick wickets at the other end. If Bumrah also doesn't pick wickets, if teams are playing out Bumrah, they can accelerate later against other bowlers. And that's exactly what teams are doing. So Bumrah, across formats, since his back injury after the 2019 World Cup, his wicket-taking prowess in the power play with the new ball has gone down, which is a concern not only for MI but for India.
But also in the way Rohit Sharma has utilized Jasprit Bumrah in this IPL, that also needs to be scrutinized because to hold back your premier fast bowler against the 2 quality openers as we saw against Lucknow Super Giants on a couple of occasions, that goes to show that somewhere Rohit Sharma also needs to shoulder some blame for for the poor showing of Jasprit Bumrah. Now let's take a look at Rajasthan Royals playing 11, a team which has been firing on all cylinders, led by their opening batsman Jos Buttler, Nikhil. What an IPL this Englishman is having.
He's already almost got 500 runs and we are just halfway through. So Virat Kohli's 900 plus 2016 record is seriously under threat, Atishay. And given that Rajasthan will make it to the playoffs from here, they will at least play 15 matches. So I think he's going to have a go at Virat Kohli's record. But Jos Buttler has been phenomenal. 300s, 250s, brilliantly consistent, striking at 155 plus, absolutely phenomenal. 75% of his runs in boundaries. He's been absolutely brilliant. It's him and then the other batsmen in the tournament. But interestingly for them, apart from Buttler and Shimron Hetmeyer, who's been one of the best finishers in the tournament, the other batting lineup hasn't done much. Parag did well in the last match. Samson has been good in flash, but I think Samson is still playing 60-70% of what Samson can do. We haven't seen a great Samson innings till now in the tournament. The bowling, of course, the bowling is their strength. Collectively they have 4 world-class bowlers in Ashwin, Boult, Krishna and Chahal. Chahal leading wicket taker, Krishna brilliant in the power play. Boult started very well, 7 wickets first 4 matches, you will see later, but he has gone down. It's a bit of a concern for them as the tournament sort of reaches its business end. Ashwin restrictive in the middle overs again.
Well, again, Rajasthan Royals are performing so well because they have not just the orange cap holder but also the purple cap holder in Yuzvendra Chahal. So the team has been clicking as a unit, which is one of the main reasons why Rajasthan Royals are where they are at the moment. 6 wins in 8 games and Mumbai Indians are 8 losses in 8 matches. Now, before moving forward, let's take a look at the head-to-head between these two teams, how they have fared against each other over the years. 27 matches, Nikhil, they have played against each other. Rajasthan Royals have won 13, Mumbai Indians have won 14. But since 2020, Rajasthan Royals have a slight upper hand, and one would anticipate that it might continue even this time around.
Yes, it's very interesting. See, because MI are 5-time champions. Rajasthan just won the inaugural season 2008. They haven't been the best side. In fact, they have finished 6, 7, 8 in the last few seasons. So for MI not to dominate Rajasthan is quite surprising, which means MI have dominated the best of teams, CSK, KKR, etc. So for them not to dominate RR is quite a shocking statistic. In fact, we can say that RR has been the bogey team for MI. RR has got the better of MI and they're leading 4-3. So which is a very fascinating head-to-head record.
Well, 100% Nikhil, whatever you said makes all the sense. But now another fast bowler, Nikhil, which has impressed me, and I'm sure he would have impressed you as well. There's for sure there is someone like Umran Malik, who has garnered all the headlines in the country in the last couple of weeks because of the way he has bowled in this IPL. But Nikhil, there is also Prasidh Krishna. What about him? 9 wickets this season, 6 of them has come inside the power play. When you combine last 4 years, he overhauls that tally. So somewhere down the line, India might be, the BCCI and the selection committee might be looking at him as a good prospect going into the T20 World Cup.
Absolutely. A couple of years ago, in fact, Atishay, none other than the then India captain Virat Kohli had identified Prasidh Krishna and said he's someone for the future. And the reason he said that was one quality stood out. Yes, he has pace, but there have been many other Indian pacers who had pace in the past. The quality was that he used to bowl short of a length. That is the length you bowl on Australian and South African wickets and then extract bounce and extra zip from unresponsive Indian wickets, which is a very rare quality for an Indian pacer to get extra bounce or from a short of a good length delivery. Other Indian pacers tend to pitch the ball fuller. That has been their strength. But he pitches the ball same as an Australian or a South African quickie. So that is the USP of Prasidh Krishna, and I'm definitely 100% sure that he will go to Australia for the World T20 on those hard surfaces of Australia. He'll be a big asset.
Well, 100% Nikhil. And also, what about his opening partner Trent Boult? He's playing against, just to remind our viewers, he's playing this game against his former employers for whom he tasted a lot of success, and he was one of the architect behind their title winning spree, which they had once. It seems like a long time ago after how harrowing they have performed in this season. But a word on Trent Boult, Nikhil.
See, if you can see the numbers, I mean, those numbers tell the complete story. See, in the first 4 games, he was brilliant. 7 wickets, excellent in the power play, economy of 7.25, very restrictive, a lot of dot balls per match. When 12 dot balls per match on average means half the number of deliveries he was bowling weren't scored off. Look at that. No wickets in the last 3 matches. Economy has gone up to 10.5. Of course, if you don't pick a wicket, you can't have a strike rate. Dot ball average has also gone down. He's conceding more runs. He's conceding more boundaries. His death over bowling, his death over economy rate is above 13, which is amongst the worst for any bowler in the last 3 matches. So it's a cause of slight worry. He's a class bowler. He will make a comeback. It's a cause of slight worry, and RR need to go into the reasons why this is happening.
Well, we have spoken a lot about Rajasthan Royals, what has been clicking for them and what hasn't been. Trent Boult, he is a very canny customer. He has a wealth of experience under his belt, and it's only a moment of time, I think, Nikhil, before he comes good for Rajasthan Royals again. But enough of talking about Rajasthan Royals now. Let's also speak about Mumbai Indians. Nikhil, 8 losses on the trot. There is not much to talk about this team. We have written about it. We have spoken a lot about the franchise. But, 6 more matches remaining. So what do they need to do in order to, salvage some pride?
See, firstly, they needed to drop Kieron Pollard. I am of the firm belief they made a mistake, and this is beyond cricketing reasons. I mean, yes, you back a player, but you also give a youngster like Tim David, who's been in great form in playing leagues across the world, a longer run. And you don't remove Devil Brevis, mini AB de Villiers, who will definitely be a future star in the IPL out of your 11. You're sending a wrong signal. See, a lot of things have gone wrong for MI, right? And we've discussed this in length and breadth. We've done a post-mortem on this 10 times already. But just to, again, for our viewers, a wrong auction strategy, investing a lot in a few players, investing a lot in your batting lineup, not a strong enough bowling unit, no leg spinner, no world-class leg spinner at least, not enough fast bowling support for Jasprit Bumrah. And then in the tournament, Rohit Sharma has failed. Kieron Pollard has completely failed as a batsman and as a bowler. Again, there's no leg spinner. The death overs economy rate is 12.5. So it's amongst in the worst in the tournament. The use of Jasprit Bumrah, you pointed out, he should be used more in the power play and the death. But because you don't have other bowlers, you're also using him as a restrictive option in the middle overs. So there have been big mistakes made by Mumbai Indians. I think they've invested for the future here, but clearly they didn't want a result like 0-8. This takes away, as we discussed, a bit from their legacy and pride.
And honestly, Nikhil, no one would have expected that a franchise like Mumbai Indians would be suffering such a disastrous start as they have underwent this time around. Well, before we move further ahead in our show, let's just remind our viewers that Mumbai Indians won the toss and they opted to field first, and they have made 2 changes to their playing 11. Tim David and Karthikeyan, the new recruit, comes into the playing 11, and they have been replaced. And they replace Unadkat and Devil Brevis, mini AB. Kieron Pollard continues to be in the Mumbai Indians playing 11. And for Rajasthan, they haven't made any changes to their playing 11. They are sticking to the same unit which has performed drastically well for them. And again, Nikhil, White Week playing 11 which has performed. We have some breaking news coming in at this moment. Gujarat Titans beat RCB by 6 wickets. Again, this team can do no wrong at this moment of time, Nikhil. 7 wins in 8 games. I guess 8 wins in 9 games now, 16 points. So I think they are right there for qualifying for the playoffs. And this is the team to beat in this IPL.
Absolutely. They're almost through to the playoffs. I mean, unbelievable performance again. Rahul Tewatia has done it again. David Miller has done it again. Absolutely fascinating performance. At the halfway stage, it seemed RCB were 10 runs, ahead in the match. But, Gujarat Titans, time and again, have fought back from, a position where they didn't seem they were the likely team to win. And again, they've pulled off a brilliant victory. Hats off to them, hats off to the leadership of Hardik Pandya. And Rahul Tewatia is now making this almost a habit. David Miller is doing this also quite consistently. This team is looking very dangerous at this.
Well, definitely. And you rightly mentioned about Rahul Tewatia. How impressive has that lad been? Because most of the times, whenever he remains unbeaten, more often than not, his team manages to go over the line. And today also he was unbeaten on 43 in just 25 balls. He smashed 5 boundaries and 2 sixes. And he got ample support from David Miller, as you rightly spoke about, 39 runs in just 24 deliveries. The duo combined for an unbeaten stand of over 50 runs, which was enough for Gujarat Titans to claim their 8th victory of this season. And once again, I think this team is so well constructed also. They have all the right players in their ranks. If not for these two, they also had someone like Rashid Khan, who played an absolute blinder last time around to clinch the 2 crucial points for Gujarat Titans. Well, that's about Gujarat Titans and RCB, but we are building towards the game between Rajasthan Royals and Mumbai Indians. And also, Nikhil, let's talk a bit about Sanju Samson, the captain of RR. Well, he hasn't scored the amount of runs one would expect him to score, and he has a lot of talent, a lot of potential. We have seen over the years that he has performed wondrously for his franchise Rajasthan Royals. But now, as the tournament enters the business half of the tournament now, one would expect Sanju Samson to also, make some news with his, swashbuckling batting.
Absolutely. See, it's been interesting with Sanju Samson because if you see the previous 2 editions, he scored most of his runs, most of his brilliant, sensational innings used to come in the first half of the tournament. It's not happened in this season. He hasn't produced a single, a single innings where he has single-handedly taken, RR to victory. But still RR are in the position they are. Still they are in the top 2. If Samson hasn't delivered and they're in the top 2, if he steps on a gear or 2, imagine what RR can do. And that is the positive for RR. That's without Samson playing those single-handed great knocks, they are in the top 2s. And Samson now has to press on the accelerator because the top 2 finish is very important to have the extra cushion in the playoffs.
Okay, so we have some other breaking news coming in from IPL. Chennai Super Kings newly appointed captain Jadeja has stepped down from captaincy and he has handed the captaincy back to MS Dhoni. Nikhil. Wow, this is really some breaking news. CSK just not like Mumbai Indians, but they are also enduring a disastrous IPL 2022 campaign, and Jadeja was under fire because of not leading Chennai Super Kings to the place where they are supposed to be and where they have been in the past editions of the IPL. Your first thought, Nikhil?
I'm actually shocked, but I'm not surprised completely because recently we also did a detailed piece on this. We did a news narrative debate, whatever we call it, that is captaincy affecting Ravindra Jadeja? And according to me, it was. I think Jadeja's performance, one of the most consistent performers, Atish, in the IPL in the last few seasons for CSK, finisher for CSK, middle over restrictor, middle over wicket taker. His performance had completely gone down with the batter ball. And somewhere we had written that I think, stepping into the shoes of a legend like MS Dhoni is taking a toll on Ravindra Jadeja. It is not easy. MS Dhoni was a great captain for CSK, for India. He was synonymous with CSK. So Jadeja was getting affected, but I did not expect this. I did not expect this to happen in the middle of the tour, in the middle of the competition.
And as you can see on your screens right now, under Jadeja, CSK lost 6 of their 8 matches this season. And as Nikhil pointed out, after taking the captaincy, because getting into this IPL, Jadeja was under tremendous form. He played this amazing blazing innings of 175 and everyone was saying that he's probably the best all-rounder in the world right now. But the captaincy load certainly seems to have taken a toll on him. But now also let's talk a bit about Chennai Super Kings in this regard, Nikhil. Now captaincy change in middle of a disastrous season for Chennai Super Kings. Now how do you see MS Dhoni handling this situation?
Well, I don't think Chennai will qualify for the playoffs. Let's make that clear, because I don't think they have the team. So I think with the available resources, I think they've made big blunders like MI did in the auction policy. I think this whole policy of being arrogant and taking, players above 35 who way past their prime, Ambati, Raidu, Robin Uthappa, although some of them have played well. But you cannot build a team around players who way past their prime. Almost it feels like a family, family get-together with CSK. That cannot happen. So I think there were mistakes in the CSK auction strategy, but this is the same team with which MS Dhoni won it last year. But I don't think that, history will repeat itself. I don't think they will make the playoffs this year. They may become party poopers for a few other teams. And I mean, MS Dhoni may deliver a few positive results. But I think otherwise CSK, their fate in the tournament overall will not be affected.
Well, but let's also talk about on the aspect of fans, because MS Dhoni becoming the captain once again, the energy, that fervor which once everyone used to associate with a franchise like Chennai Super Kings, and now once again with MS Dhoni taking over the mantle, you think that energy, that
yes,
that vibe will once again come back to the franchise?
Absolutely. I think the fans will be ecstatic. I think they wanted this. There were calls for this. So I think the fans will be ecstatic. But as a unit, it does not also send a great message, because see, MS Dhoni has to step down at some point, and they have to name a successor. Now Jadeja will not become captain. This is for sure. Jadeja will now not become captain of CSK, even when MS Dhoni steps down at the end of the year. Now maybe they will look at someone like Ruturaj Gaikwad, but then Ruturaj Gaikwad has been completely out of form this year. So do you want to burden him with captaincy? So now I think they'll be ruining the fact, why did we let go someone like Faf du Plessis? He was a great, he's the captain of RCB. So why did we let go of So they don't have, can't see any other player there, who's a potential captain captain in CSK. So in a bit of a quandary, because MS Dhoni, I thought, had plans of retiring next season. He wanted to become a team mentor, team coach. How does he do that now? Because Jadeja definitely now he can't become captain because, he's just ruined his chances of becoming captain. He's clearly under pressure. He's given it up.
And this decision also highlights that Jadeja was not ready for this role, and even he would have been surprised being appointed the captain of Chennai Super Kings right before the IPL. So he would be taken aback by the decision, and he would have realized after 8 matches that his performance is also being impacted. So somewhere down the line, he would have had that introspection with himself, and then because leaving a captaincy is a decision which can't be made overnight, he would have done a lot of discussions. MS Dhoni would have spoken with him. But again, Nikhil, I have one question. CSK are not out of it mathematically. So if MS Dhoni is able to revive the fortunes of this franchise, then what?
I think then there'll be a statue of MS Dhoni, not only outside Chennai, but outside every stadium in India. If he revives their fortunes and they forget winning, if they even reach anywhere close to the final this season with what has transpired this season, I think there'll be a statue of MS Dhoni. I'm not joking. In every town of Tamil Nadu. He's a living legend. His status will reach. He'll become a cult figure across India.
But as you only mentioned a few seconds back, that this team is not that different from the team which Chennai Super Kings had in the 2021 edition, where they went on to win the IPL. The only difference is Ruturaj Gaikwad, who was the orange cap holder at the end of the season. He played out of his mind. He was brilliant for them. And then there was Faf du Plessis also. They are also missing Deepak Chahar in bowling.
And Shardul Thakur.
So, but again, it's not completely,
but there's no Faf du Plessis, there's no Ruturaj Gaikwad, he's not in form. So 2 of the best openers from last season, who piled on I think some 600 odd runs last season, they are not there. So there are no starts for CSK. There's no Shardul Thakur. He was the leading wicket taker last year. So Ravindra Jadeja is not performing. He's succumbing under the pressure of captaincy. So there's no Deepak Chahar, one of the best new ball bowlers, along with Trent Boult in the last 3 editions of the IPL. So obviously it's not the same CSK. And see, you can win. MS Dhoni is a peculiar captain. You can win a season by having a very different strategy to the norm, but you cannot do that again and again. You have to have a mix of youth and talent. I think MS Dhoni was a bit or the team management was a bit arrogant in retaining some of their players. I think they should have let go of players like Raidu, Uthappa, etc., etc.
But if you're saying that they should have let go of players like Ambati, Raidu and Uthappa, but those 2 other players who have performed well for this franchise.
They performed well, but they have not been outstanding. Raidu has played 1 exceptional knock. Uthappa has been decent. I mean, CSK could have gone for, look at the talent available. They could have gone hard for some other players. Why didn't they retain Faf du Plessis? I mean, why? I mean,
well, once again, it makes sense. If you're looking towards the future, it's always better to acquire some young blood. So even if you can give them 1 or 2 years to, build around, they get in, themselves indulged in the atmosphere of the franchise. Well, that was some breaking news coming in from the camp of Chennai Super Kings. Just to remind our viewers, Ravindra Jadeja has stepped down from captaincy and he has handed over the job to none other than MS Dhoni. Now, what happens with Chennai Super Kings in the remaining 6 matches remains to be seen. Can MS Dhoni once again be the messiah of CSK as he has been on numerous occasions? Well, we all await for that answer. Before we wrap up, Nikhil, let's not digress from the main topic, which was Mumbai Indians versus Rajasthan Royals. We have a lot of breaking news coming in, so we just digress from that subject. So now, before we wrap up the show, your final thought, whom do you see winning this match?
I don't think MI is winning. I think it's 0-9 today. Rajasthan Royals is too strong a team. They're amongst the best 2 teams in the tournament. They have a very if they can get Josh Buttler out, I think Jasprit Bumrah versus Buttler, I think Bumrah has dismissed him 4 times already. That could be a good matchup. For that, he needs to bowl in the power play. If they can get Buttler early, maybe they have a chance. But otherwise, I think RR is just too strong. MI needs to do something radical. Tim David, one of these players needs to produce an absolute blinder. It is possible, but I'm worried about the bowling. MI's bowling.
Well, definitely. So Nikhil is going with Rajasthan Royals, but I think on his birthday, Rohit Sharma, we all deserve one magical innings, and what better day for Rohit Sharma to, enthrall his fans with a beautiful and vintage Rohit Sharma innings. Well, that's all from me and Nikhil at this moment of time. If you like this piece of information, do like, subscribe and share to News 9 social media handles across all social media platforms. Thank you.